Saam, Jude, welcome to Unboxed.
Thanks for having us.
Right, Picante, incredible brand. Obviously, you guys have been building now for a number of years. One of the hottest things going in the world of social and everything else. I'm such a fan of it. It goes without saying. I've known you guys for a while. It's beautiful to see how you guys are building this. So it'd be good just to get into the story. Like, how did you start Picante? What is the ethos, the brand values? How did you bring it to life?
Yeah, I mean, we both met at Burberry. We used to work there together. But for some reason, I don't know how we got onto it, but then we noticed there was a bit of a gap in the market for a meme page. We ended up making a meme page talking about our favourite club, all the drinks that were there. And then naturally that kind of progressed into more conversations about the drink being the Picante cocktail. And because of that, it kind of led us down this rabbit hole of memes and content around this cocktail that was just creating this cult community. Just like, we weren't even planning on that. It just ended up happening like that.
Everything was organic. It was just like going with the flow, having fun.
Yeah.
We were just at Burberry, and every lunchtime we just meet, and then our lunch break would just sort of just keep extending. We'd just be like, what about this? What about that?
Yeah, a few calls from the bosses being like, where are you guys?
Just avoiding.
We're just making memes, leave us alone. That's it, yeah.
And then we ended up going on holiday together out to LA, and we noticed that there was a huge like buzz around merch, around like restaurant merch, groceries merch.
All the restaurants we were going to had merch. And we were loving the vibe of these restaurants, loving the clothes they were putting out. And you were pushing me. You were like, we need to do merch. And I was like, nah, it works here, but it won't work for us.
Yeah. And then we were like, well, we kind of need to elevate it a bit because the audience is a bit more, they appreciate the finer things, I think. Like there was a bit more of an affluent audience. But we didn't want to go too far and get cut and sew products that soon. So we wanted to just trial it out, low risk, get some blank products and print on them.
We wanted to play on it that it was merch as well. Like whilst we wanted to keep it elevated, we wanted to make it clear it was merch.
Yeah.
So we just,
Even like the blanks that we chose were specifically like champion blanks because it's like it was like the arch was the varsity style. So, and a lot of the universities would use champion.
So it wasn't even us not doing cut and sew or us doing blanks. It was like, we want this exact hoodie.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
What was that first sort of plunge into buying stock? Like that kind of risk, if you will, to say, right, we've not monetized this yet. This is coming out of our own banks. Like we're taking a risk, but we think it'll work, but we don't ultimately know. What was that like to kind of go ahead with that order?
Well, at the time, it was not, I feel like we put £600 in each, maybe. Yeah. Which at the time, I remember like I was on a low salary and I was like, shit, that's 600 quid.
Yeah.
But I think it was only 600.
Yeah, something like
and
that.
Instantly it just snowballed. And when we saw the money coming in and the sales coming in, it was like a no-brainer. It was like, let's keep this going.
People were asking us to restock it. We had like Cara Delevingne, Drake, all these huge people wearing it. And we were like, it's definitely something here.
Yeah. And I remember so many of the activations that you guys did to obviously promote the merch at the time. They were amazing. Things like hiding hoodies in lockers and first words, all that kind of stuff. Did you find that was a bit of a test bed for you that's given you learnings that you guys are now taking into how you market on Picante? Because the kind of the viral magic that you guys have it almost feels like it was cultivated during that time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think exclusivity was like the main thing. It really resonated with that audience. I think exclusivity is always something that, will drive any demand. And the whole of last year, we've been like brand building for Picante. It's all been about exclusivity and like keeping demand high and stock low. But yeah, the exclusivity element was like all the little viral things we were doing was like, we're continuing to do that sort of thing.
And we need to keep that up. It's like a constant reminder. Yeah. And now you've said that, I'm like, right, we really need to
think of some ideas.
Yeah, do some things.
For sure. And all the way through as well, creators have been at the heart of that and influencers generally, right? I think, again, I remember some of those early campaigns and always had amazing faces and people. How important is the kind of creator element to building hype, building that kind of early sort of profile for a brand?
Well, when we turned Picante into an actual brand and then we started doing cut and sew, for us, it was, we needed to elevate it and also target a different audience. We had like a good elevated audience, but we wanted to like really scale and expand the audience. And for us, it was like the influencers was so key. So when we launched the Instagram, we were private. So we didn't want to like have it public basically, but we wouldn't accept anyone and we weren't posting anything. So we just thought, let's get this going, tease the product out to influencers, get some follow requests in. And then when we launched, I think we launched with 10K.
Well, we didn't know how many we were going to launch with.
Yeah.
Remember? We were like,
on Instagram, it only says like plus.
99.
Like,
We were like, haven't got a clue how many people are on here. and then it slowly trickles through. It doesn't like all come in at once. And we were like,
we clicked like accept all, and it was just like taking ages to refresh, and they weren't coming in, and then
eventually it landed on what, 10 or 13?
Yeah, 10, something about that. Yeah, just over 10K followers.
Which was great.
Yeah, and was there one kind of creator who posted it, or one share, or one moment which kind of spiked it, or was it just from the hype from the meme page going over?
It wasn't actually that many people from the meme page going over.
Yeah, I'd say maybe 10% of the followers at launch came from the meme page.
Yeah,
it was mainly down to Olivia, Neill, and Flossie, who we had just become friends with. And it wasn't even like a conscious thought. Like, they were influencers. I think they were coming up at that stage. Yeah. They were big.
2020?
2020, yeah.
2020. And they were and we were just gifting to close friends, and it was like, oh, you guys should 100% have this product.
Yeah.
And they did 1 or 2 stories, and it just,
they were so supportive. And then people were just like, I was reading the comments on TikTok, and people were like, what's this, Picante?
Yeah.
And then people were tagging it. Like, we hadn't even launched anything. They tagged us on like, oh, check Instagram at Picante.
It's amazing.
And then like, we just see little influxes of requests going up, and then that's kind of how it happened. It was just influencer gifting at that point.
Yeah,
we didn't even have a product out, and then when we launched, it kind of it all boiled down to this one moment, and then there was a big thing about how much our product is, like the cost.
Yeah, I think we were gifting to people without. It wasn't like when a huge brand goes, we need to gift to this person, their audience is this, and we want to get that audience and target this person because of this. We were just gifting to friends that happened to be influencers or creators in that space. But we didn't actually work out. So a lot of the people we were gifting to, their audiences weren't necessarily luxury.
Yeah.
Would you say? Or like they were used to buying high street. So then when we launched the first product, and I think the hoodie was £100 initially, which in the space isn't too bad. It's quite average now. But the comments were like, what the fuck? £100 for a hoodie.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel about that? Kind of working out? Because again, you're so right. It wasn't like you were targeting in any sort of sense their audience. You're just giving it to them because you were friends with them. Yeah. But the audience almost think, oh, this is almost being marketed to us, when actually it wasn't. It was just them supporting you. Yeah. What was that whole process to kind of deal with?
Well, I think
it was a bit disappointing, to be completely honest, because it was like, we've worked so hard for this, and it's done well. We've got all these followers, and we're expecting them all to be keen to buy. Like, everyone who's saying, I want this hoodie, I need this hoodie, I'm going to buy it on drop day. Yeah. We kind of assumed they would.
Yeah. We'd move away from champion blanks. This is cut and sew in Portugal. Like, it's expensive. Cotton's like organic cotton. It's really expensive to make.
So the first investment from like a brand point of view, I think, like I said, it was about £600 when we started with the blanks, roughly, like, despite the website and everything. But in terms of when we first did cut and sew, how much were we talking? Maybe like the first order was maybe 20, 30K.
Oh, wow.
Euros. And so that was, we had saved this money by selling the blanks and so on, but it was a lot of money to invest.
That's a big order, right? Yeah.
So it was a bit disheartening when we were getting comments. And initially, because of some of the people had such a strong audience, those people were commenting on our photos almost like abuse. And it was like, I think one of the comments was like, boycott Picante. And it's like, this is
already?
Our first launch. They've just gone live.
A minute.
And it was...
That was like, we posted like 3 things and then launched, and then that was it. And we were like, what the fuck?
And we've never dealt with that, because it was always positivity with everything we were doing. So we started like deleting these comments, to be completely honest.
People were thinking that we were just taking advantage. Yeah. But like, we at this point, we weren't even looking at our margins. It was like, we kind of want to eventually hit a certain margin, but like, we'll take a lower margin just to get the product out there.
And it was good value. It was good value, like premium product, sustainable product. And I think we communicated that, but I just don't think the audience were used to it, this new audience.
But now we look back at our returning customer rate, and it's so high. We have people coming back over and over. So it's like, they needed to see the product in person and feel it, because the quality is good. Because now that we can see, they come back.
Yeah. What have you learned from the world of high fashion, working at somewhere like Burberry? What have you learned from that place, and how did that kind of give you guys inspiration and insight into building your own brand?
Yeah, well, I think we learned so much of the full picture. I think the one thing, not so much what we learned, but the whole time, for me, I was on the creative side at Burberry, and I was just constantly felt like I was getting knocked back, because there was all these different roles doing one thing. Like, one piece of content would feed, like, so many people would be involved behind the scenes, but you wouldn't have an opportunity to touch on all these things. And there was always pushback. And you'd see that as well. Yeah. There was always pushback, and you just felt like you were being cornered in something. You'd come up with a concept, there'd be budget for the shoot would go ahead. And then at the end of the day, the creative director would say, actually, you see the final outcome is how you wanted it to be. And then the creative director would be like, sorry, we're scrapping this shoot. And it's like all this work, and then you just don't get anything from it. we came up with the concept of releasing Riccardo Tisci's first collection from Burberry just on Instagram, like his first drop just on Instagram.
Oh wow.
Shoppable on Instagram. And it was when Instagram shopping had just sort of kicked off, and they took the idea and they're like, okay, interesting. We'll think about that. And then it happened, but there was no, it's just, that was the end of it.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
No credit or anything. But that happens in a big company. So I think for us now, getting hold of our own brand is so great. We can do absolutely everything. We like to outsource to creators and work with all these great people out there. But like last week we did a shoot and it was literally like, I used to do photography, but to an amateur level. I shot the campaign. You were there, like Saam's never done lighting. I don't even really know about like we're like literally working out lights and like tethering all these lights to the camera and so on. And it was just the two of us with two models.
Yeah, and some YouTube tutorials.
Good.
Exactly. And so that's now we can do that. That's so nice, to be able to have full control.
100%.
Yeah.
And also, from Burberry, they work with a number of creators, number of big talent. I think that increased. I think when you were there, and I remember we were speaking about how much more they were becoming aware of the impact of creators and needing to use influencers and so on. Were there any learnings from Burberry around influencer strategy? And, because I think you guys were driving some of that there, right, from memory, or there was a part of what you were doing. So tell us about that. What did you learn from a creator standpoint from your time there that you then brought into Picante?
You were on this more than me, I think.
I feel like they were very, very particular about how their brand was seen online. But then when it got to using or like working with creators, and they would give them full creative control, but they would give them an idea of how they want it to look. And that was one thing that's really good. Like, it's like remaining authentic to the type of content that you create. And that was one thing that we have like sort of taken into Picante as well. And like, for example, we might work with a photographer or a videographer. And like, for example, when we did our shoot in the Peak District, we worked with this great videographer. We had no idea what he was doing, but he was just like doing his own thing.
Never met him.
He
Not really
down.
seen any of his work. I posted on Instagram like any videographers out there, and for some reason this guy stood out, but his work wasn't really on Instagram. It was just a couple of like still shots from some of his videos.
Yeah, like Vimeo and stuff like that. But it was like none of it was like really social first. But we kind of, like I said, we want to make this social first. It's got to be like this format.
I think I briefed him via a voice note. There was no like brief or deck. It was just like, so we wanted to shoot this, 916 obviously reels, we want to do this and that. And he was like, yeah, got it. And because we had so much to concentrate with all the stills and the things that were priority for that shoot, this video was like sort of secondary. Yeah. We didn't really know what he was doing, and he was just kind of
he was just doing stuff, but he was just like, and then he came out with this insane video.
And then we were like, oh shit, we need to lead with that. That content's like the strongest.
Yeah. Ended up being so strong. We were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just basically like giving a bit more creative control. Yeah, it's hard to do that when your brand is so small. You want to control a bit more about what the brand identity is and where it's going. So sometimes, we'd like to try and direct that ourselves rather than let someone else direct it. But found in this situation, it was really great to give that person the freedom. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it worked out really well.
Yeah, and I mean, take us through some of the campaigns you've worked on with creators, because on that point, both. Photographers, videographers, as well as influencers. Do you have any examples of like campaigns that just stood out to you as being like that went amazingly, that was perfect, and others that were a bit more challenging? Take us through some case studies, if you will.
So Christmas is gone, but Home Alone was my favourite film, and I think it meant something to you as well. You like that film?
Yeah, it's a great film.
And we saw at Christmas loads of these like mood board Instagram pages were posting that still of the Home Alone. Kevin McAllister in the back of a. What limo was it? It was
Lincoln 2001 or
older, I think.
1995. Yeah, they don't do anymore. Yeah, can't get them in London.
And we saw this shot and we're like, we want to recreate that. And then we're like, shit, we got to wait a whole year to release it at Christmas. But for some reason, we were just like, we want to do this. Guy Leo fits the bill. Like, he's got like a really strong look. Yeah, kind of looks a bit like Kevin McAllister. He gives me that vibe.
Yeah, he does.
And so we then hunted down this limo that was just.
I think I called about 20 limo companies, and then it worked out that like loads of them had the same company under different names. So then they were like, oh, did you just call like 10 minutes ago?
I was like, next to me,
I was like, yeah, that was me. I was like, any look on that limo? And he's like, nope.
But we needed the exact same interior, and it was
because you get these limos now that are like quite like tacky and stuff, but we wanted like this old school style, and he was like, yeah, you can't get that in London. It's a tough one. Way.
So that was a good one.
That was a great one. And Leo was great. We'd kind of like met him a few times, and now like we're really good friends with him.
Yeah.
But he was just so good on that shoot.
Yeah,
it was a fun shoot, and we got to.
Did well, it's all right. Numbers were great,
yeah,
right?
numbers are good.
Yeah, amazing. And then class of 22.
Yeah.
Oh, that was in it. So you're remembering these more than.
Yeah, I've got a list here, so I'm good.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a great one.
That was a really great day.
I think the one thing that I've learned from all of this, and we say it every time, is we don't give long enough to do these shoots to like fully take them in and enjoy them as well. For instance, that limo one, we had the limo for like, we paid them cash, and we had this limo for like an hour and a half. We had Leo for like an hour, but that hour didn't coincide with that hour. So it gave us like half an hour. Then we had the video, and it was just so like rushing through it.
Yeah.
And it was the same with the class 22. That one, we were just texting people like, do you want to come through? Can you come through? What time? You know, people were deciding like 10 minutes before, like, yeah, I'll be there in 5. And then they were rocking up and we're like, we don't have your size. And it was just...
Yeah,
it was a really great
a lot
shoot
of the time.
Yeah, but break it down in terms of how did you come up with that concept? Because it was so good. Who did you bring on? Why did you bring them on? And then what did it do for you guys?
We came up with the concept because the design was like, as I said about the universities, we wanted something that was quite like school or like looked almost like a school shoot when you were young. You know, you used to do it.
And we wanted it to feel vintage because it was sort of throwing back to our first product, the first arch design. So it was like paying homage to that, and we wanted it to feel like an old like 80s school shoot, basically.
Can you talk us through some of the advancements or the expansion beyond the kind of core clothing product and how you found those ventures?
Yeah. So the drink, we'd always wanted to do the drink. That had been always something like on our mind, but the clothing came first because
it was where our passions lied. Like we worked for a fashion brand, we loved clothing.
Yeah.
Made sense. Whereas alcohol, we drink it on a weekend or in the week or whenever, but we wouldn't know too much about. We wouldn't know where to start.
Yeah, first place to start. And then with Bear and Jack, that was like our first. We wanted to do the cocktail with them because they were really great partners and they'd built their own drinks in the past.
Yeah,
and they have them in this little like where you would know like the Iranian style Capri Sun, like fake Capri Suns that they selling around, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then we made the drink, and it took us about. The first round of samples were like spot on. Their team were just so good. And we put it in the pouch and then did the design for it, graphics. And then we like launched with it for the Bear and Jack dinner that we did. And then everyone was just talking about the drink the whole time.
All the press, all the influencers are only chatting about the drink, only taking pictures of the drink. And we're like,
we've just put so much money into the clothes.
Yeah,
and some
these guys.
So we ended up thinking like, right, well, we need to do this. Everyone was saying, are you going to continue this? Is this just like a one-off? And everyone was talking about it. So we're like, we're going to have to do it.
Yeah. So we just like pushed forward with it and made it more commercially viable. So we put them in cans instead of pouches. There's also some sort of laws with like making things look too fun and playful as alcohol.
Alcohol's so
for like kids
heavy.
And stuff. So we made them cans. And then we just did like a proof of concept run with the same partners as well. And did like 300 cases in December and sold through in about an hour.
Wow.
So we had like really good demand and we still get people messaging us asking for them.
We can't really get our hands on them at the moment. We really need to like, there's just so much going into it. But for us, there's also been a concern where we're like, what clothing brand also has a cocktail? Name the same.
Yeah.
I think what we've decided is like the Picante is a lifestyle. It's come from a lifestyle. It's the lifestyle that inspires us. So why don't we just run with that? Release a cocktail, release a clothing, do whatever we want to do, create a hotel, whatever it might be, members club. Go with that and see where it goes. If something works, if something doesn't work, we'll just run it. It's just
absolutely.
Have fun with it.
Yeah. And finally, each of you, who is a creator that you are loving at the moment?
Creator I really like, Matteo the pasta man.
Yeah.
I love food and he's doing crazy things with pasta and he really gets, I don't know what his background is in terms of social, but he really gets how to make like a viral TikTok or reel. And he's doing really good things to work with fashion brands and we're just trying to work out the right thing we can do with him. But it makes so much sense for us. Food, the ethos of the brand and the relation to food.
Picante pasta.
Yeah.
Make your own whole grain pasta. That'd be great.
We want to do it. So I think for me, that would be. But there's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many.
I like Star Guy.
Yeah, he's great.
Star Guy's great.
Yeah.
He's just, every time I speak to him about content, he's just, there's like this deep love for content.
Yeah.
And I can tell he just really enjoys what he does.
Fires him up.
And
he's hit a niche that's like, it's not meme, it's not influencer, it's not like, he's just
done his
own
thing.
thing.
He's so
and
humble
he keeps
as
doing
well.
it, but it doesn't get boring at all.
He's so humble as well. And he'll just, he's not afraid to ask like what he thinks other people think he should be doing. And I think he should get a Netflix series.
Surely.
I can see him on Netflix.
Surely.
100%. And I think he'd make a really, really good series.
To move into kind of, if he can do the sort of scripted acting side, the sort of sketch, blended character side of things, like if he can find a team of writers, like you can see a banger there.
He's just great. He's also really good at networking. We went to Travis Scott together.
Yeah.
We were in the green room afterwards, and he was just like, I want to go and speak to Travis Scott. And then he just walked over and just started speaking to him like, this guy. So great.
How did it go? Because how did it go with you and Travis Scott?
Oh yeah, I said, great show by the way, mate. And he's like,
security. Get him out. Amazing. Well, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.